Sean Salisbury, former NFL quarterback and host of the Sean Salisbury Show on Sports Talk 790 in Houston, and the former USC quarterback. Hi, Sean.
How you doing? I'm listening to you talk about Dan Brown. Hi, I'm Sean. You're James Patterson. But here's my problem, Dan. I went to HEB grocery store the other day. I thought the same thing, and the grocery checkout guy says, "Well, I check out groceries. What kind of celebrity are you?" So I go through that every day of my damn life. You just went through it once. Good to be on with you, man. How are you?
I'm good. Good to talk to you. I saw your tweet where you were a little fired up about your alma mater, USC. What makes you most upset about this situation?
I'm quite tired of our alma mater, us as former players. Board of Regents, alumni, fans, and Dan, I love my Trojans, and you're familiar with we've talked about it for many years, is the arrogance and pride that we think a 17-year-old kid who plays Madden has any idea that I played or that we won a national championship in 78. They don't care. Hey, man, you got to do it the Trojan way. Yeah, what's the Trojan way? Going 8-3 and ended up in El Paso and playing in a game at UTEP. And I'm being a bit facetious, but Dan, that it bothers me because we got to get out of that mode of 17-year-old kids have about a 5-year attention span. They want to know about name, image, and likeness. They want to make sure they can play on TV every week, national TV. They want to make sure they can play for a national title. They want to make sure that that the NFL's waiting on them and that you understand where they're coming from. The kid at Mater Dei, think about this, Dan. The kid at Mater Dei knows more about the uniforms at Oregon, and they're a good program, than they do about student body right. So if you're going to be the next coach, you better buy in. So the arrogance of us, see the history and tradition of a program, those kids can get that when they get there. The history is for you and I to mull over. Dan, remember when I was in 1981 and I was recruited? And you say that to a kid and he goes, no, Sean, I didn't even know you did that, man. And that's probably the grocery checker kid, let alone the recruit. So you got to understand, Nick Saban, that you got to do the now and what's going to happen the next 5 years for them. That's what they want to know. They could care less about history and tradition. That's the era we're in. And that next coach better understand that. And he better keep guys in a 150-mile radius in the state and in the Southern California area and at USC.
Okay. Is this a marquee job that you can go out and say, hey, we want you? Like, we can pick and choose who we want. Is it still a great program?
Dan, the name's great, and I don't want this to sound conflictory to what I said. People still know who USC is. The problem is it's like going in and misplaced when you're going through an interview, misplacing what you're trying to sell about your program. I'm not trying to sell Marcus Allen Heisman Trophy. When you walk into McKay Center, you'll see that once we got you on campus. Dan, when I was there and before me and after me with all those great players, and I wasn't one of them, like we need dogs in the program. We got good players. Don't misunderstand me. But think about 4 of the top quarterbacks in college football. They're all playing in the SEC. They're playing somewhere else. And it's not a knock on Slovis. It's just the yearly thing. We used to be, if you came in and think about a dog in your backyard, and we need dogs in the program, but it used to be that in our backyard, if you wanted to take us out of Southern California, that you had to come in, pick us up, steal us, and take us. And here's the recruiting trip. Here's where you are. Here's why you want to play here. Now, we at SC, we just open the gate for you. Oh, come on out, man. Go on and play for Nick Saban. He can waltz into your backyard. When a guy at Mater Dei knows more about Alabama's program than he does the guys that are within 30 miles or 50 miles of campus, we got a problem. Yes, it's still got that. It is USC, but we're no longer that guy, Dan. We're a guy. It's like the guy, the backup tight end who's trying to be that guy, but he's not yet. We're now used to be that guy. Now we're just a guy in college football that we're a guy to Oregon. We're a guy to Clemson. We're a guy to those programs. And there's a bunch of us, Florida State, Miami, Texas, Nebraska, but we're at the top of that. So it's still USC, but it isn't USC.
Okay.
You got to recruit hard.
All right.
Dan,
I'm going to let you bring them in.
Okay. I'm the AD.
Yeah. Who are you hiring?
There's 50 guys we're going to hear. And I don't need to repeat the James Franklins and the Matt. I'd love to interview them. Let me give you a few that I'd be really interested in talking to and that I like. I need somebody, I don't care if he's 65 or 36. I need energy to match the player and understand landscapes change. So a sneaky name. Why not Joe Brady? Young guy. Everywhere he's been, Joe Burrow, what he's going to do with Darnold. And I like him. And he's done it quickly. And it needs a quick turnaround. And he'll have 22 first-rounders a year.
So he's the offensive coordinator with Carolina
for Carolina, and who was at the LSU when Burrow had that big year.
Yeah.
I'm just giving you a sneak. I'm not giving you the Franklins or Campbells. I also am intrigued with Hugh Freeze. Liberty's doing some great things. I like how he's turned it around. He's coached in big-time SEC football.
Little risky, though. Little baggage.
But, Dan, you know what? Guess what? Sometimes that baggage, it may be a duffel bag now instead of full three-piece suitcase, okay? I'm willing to take a little bit of risk to get all the reward USC needs. I like Eric Bieniemy, and here's why. No Southern California, continues to get denied in the NFL. It takes a lot to bring that guy, the NFL coach is used to it. Now he's got to go babysit in college, but Bieniemy knows Southern California, knows recruits, and also it's a guy with so much energy. I think EB's in his 50s, Dan. But when you're around him, there's an enthusiasm that he's 30, and the also enthusiasm that he understands what these kids want, and he can take some of what Andy's doing, what he wants. I like that. Of course, I like Jack Del Rio because there's a toughness about him. Dan, that's another thing we've lacked. We're getting our rear end taken to the woodshed physically at the line of scrimmage, and that's not the way it's supposed to be. You got to be able to do a lot of concepts, but Nick Saban, when he needs to, can hand it off 8 straight times and wear you out. So those are some names. And then you're going to get your Matt Campbells, your Mario Cristobal's, your James Franklin's. I get it. I'm intrigued with Brian Dable in Buffalo and see what he can do. But does he even want to coach college football? So there's some names. My guy, Jack Del Rio, would be great because he understands the landscape and he's tough. And more importantly, Dan, than just the head coach, please find me a friggin' staff. You better have guys that want to go spend Friday night recruiting. It can't be. Nick Saban is a great recruiter, and he still does it. But, Dan, let's face facts. Players recruit Nick Saban now, right? I want to be there. That's the way it used to be with John Robinson when I was there. I want to play for that guy. But now it's to the point you got to do some legwork. You got to drive to Bakersfield and go get that guy. You got to show up at Mater Day, at Crenshaw, at Verbum Day, all at Crespi. And we're not doing enough. Clay Helton, a good guy. But the leadership's been lost. You have got to change it. And I don't care if it's a sexy name. I need a guy who understands the player and can recruit the player, but also where the mom and dad say, ooh, he's going to make $1 million in name, image, and likeness, and we're going to play for a national title. We can't be just a guy. We got to be that guy, or we'll continue to be chasing teams like Oregon and other teams in the Pac-12.
Sean Salisbury, former NFL quarterback, and, of course, host of the Sean Salisbury Show, Sports Talk 790 in Houston. Hey, how about them Texans, man?
Well, Dan, probably a 1 seed in the NFL playoffs because we don't overreact on first week. Dan, the one thing I did, and I'll say this out loud and scream to the high heavens, I think that Tyrod Taylor was perfect for what they had to have this year. I think he's a more patient quarterback than Deshaun Watson because he doesn't have the hero syndrome, have to make every play. But in the process, Deshaun will make 50 more plays against great teams. I don't know how much chance they got against Cleveland. It may be a little bit of Toledo versus Notre Dame, but if they can play like Toledo did, we may have a shot. But they're going to have to do everything perfect because I still think Cleveland, after their performance, is a Final Four Super Bowl caliber and could be in that position. But the Texans better enjoy it. And that's why I'm glass half full. Enjoy it while you can because you may not be jumping and hitting your head on the ceiling many more times during this season.
Great to catch up with you as always. Thanks for bringing the passion.
I appreciate it, brother. Thanks for having me on.
That's Sean Salisbury, Sports Talk 790 in Houston.